Hey, good morning, everybody. It's been a little while since I gave you guys an update. I apologize for that. I just kind of wanted to update you guys on a few things. I've been trying to get to y'all's comments in a timely manner. Somebody was saying the last video they saw of me, I was laying in a hospital bed, and they haven't seen me since. So, want to know if I was okay, and I appreciate that concern. But yes, let me update that with you guys. That was a I was going to undergo my first any type of procedure I've ever had involving anesthesia here in the Philippines. And I will say although there was some confusion and misunderstanding as far as, at some point they walked into my hospital room and said that the doctor that was supposed to do the procedure doesn't take FMP. And I thought we had all that lined out in advance. There was a confusion with the room. We waited for 8 hours to get a hospital room. We were told to be there at a certain time in the morning, and it wasn't until that night. It's crazy. They ended up the rooms that FMP pays for is they refer to it as a premium room. I think it just means you're in there by yourself. But they were out of those rooms, and at some point they upgraded me without having to use any of my Hilton Honors points to a premium deluxe. And because they were out of the room that FMP pays for, then they bill it at the same rate as the other one. Anyway, little craziness. And then when they came in and talked to me about the doctor not taking foreign medical program, that I could pay cash for the procedure, my demeanor changed a little bit. And I just basically said, I've been waiting for this all day long to get this room. I'm in this room. You guys got me hooked up to an IV. I'm not leaving. And I'm not paying cash for the procedure. So y'all figure it out. You find me a doctor that can do this procedure tomorrow that accepts the foreign medical program, because this was all supposed to have been done in advance. And that's just where I left it. And 15 minutes later, the nurses came back in and said, okay, sir, everything's worked out. We got a new doctor. She's going to take care of you in the morning. Da, 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 da. So it all went, and then the next morning was fine. I met the anesthesiologist. I kind of shared with him what kind of anesthesia I do the best with, which is a propofol. I don't have any side effects from that, and I wake up, once the procedure's over, I wake up fairly quickly, and I'm ready to go shortly after I come out of it. So he said, no problem, I'll take care of it, and he did. And procedure went well. They did what we were trying to do is figure out. I've had GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease, for a long time, decades, and it just kind of got a lot worse after some deployments and some exposure to some burn pits. That, and along with a few other extra things that came along after that internally. Anyway, I'd been doing pretty well with the GERD, and then my medication that I've been taking for long time just stopped working. And then they started the whole lab rat thing, where they start just changing medications, try to find which one will work. Nothing was working. Then they did the endoscopy. She did see some, things in there that gave her pause, but there's actually things that I've had on and off for decades. So I wasn't all that concerned about that. But eventually we did find the medication that seems to be controlling it to a degree. What it is, that the symptoms I have is palpitation. It almost feels like my heart's going to jump out of my chest every time I lay down. But it's not my heart, and it's my esophagus and my stomach. So I have kind of decided that eating dinner from now on is maybe something I just can't do, because it does seem to go on and off with eating dinner and then laying down, an hour or two later to go to bed. So I've kind of stopped eating dinner. I'm just eating breakfast and lunch, and a late lunch, so I can kind of get, through. So I guess in a roundabout way, you could say I'm intermittent fasting, even though I wasn't planning on doing that, but that's what I'm doing. and they've got me on some different proton pump inhibitor medication, and so that's where I'm at. This is all stuff I've been dealing with for decades. So I'm sorry if I gave the impression that that procedure was life-threatening in any way. Although I guess anytime you go under anesthesia, there's always that possibility. But it went well. I don't have the statement of charges from that procedure, and I know some of y'all might be interested in that. Exactly what all was billed. When I go next Wednesday for this next procedure, I'll pick that up and see if I can go over some of that with y'all. I also want to clarify, a good buddy of mine, Senior Master Sergeant Luke Wright, a friend of mine from Jay, Oklahoma, retired Air Force, a buddy of mine I used to serve with. He actually he's older than me, so he's actually dealing with all the TRICARE stuff and Medicare and all that stuff. All I had to go off of was what I was told when I retired by the briefings that you get as you're leaving. I was under the impression that no health insurance up until I turned 60, that TRICARE for Life kicked in, and then for 5 years, and then Medicare kicked in at 65. But that's not exactly correct. Luke kind of corrected me on that, so I want to share it with y'all. I don't like giving misinformation, but I thought it was legit. I'm correct. I don't have insurance. Just VA is what I have since I am service-connected disabilities. So I have my VA up until I turn 60, which is not too far off. At which time TRICARE kicks in. And so I think Luke was saying he had TRICARE standard. I guess maybe you have some options. I'll look into that probably in the next 2 months, because I'll be 6 months out from turning 60. So I need to start getting on top of some of that. But he said TRICARE, you have your TRICARE kicks in up until 65, and then Medicare becomes your primary, and TRICARE for Life becomes like he explained to me how they got the Medicare, A, B, C, D, all that stuff. But anyway, he explained all that to me, how that works. And so I was off. TRICARE for Life kicks in as a supplementary or a supplemental type insurance with your Medicare at 65. And up until 65, 60 to 65, you have, I guess, options with TRICARE, standard or whatever else is available out there, which mine would be the TRICARE International. Unless I'm stateside, then it'll be TRICARE standard. So hopefully that clarifies that. I didn't mean to confuse anybody. Hope I didn't. So I'll kind of update you a little bit more on the costs and everything next time I get up there. I also need to do an update video now that I've had the truck for a few months. We bought it in January, so I've had it for a few months, and I want to do an update on the Ranger Wild Track that we have. And had a little drama day before yesterday with the vehicle, not the vehicle itself, other than something that happened while we were trying to park at the market. So I kind of give you an idea of kind of what I always try to give you guys some heads up on what to look for when you come here, because it is not the same as back home, and it doesn't mean it's it's just different. So you need to be a little more on your toes, especially when you're driving. And I want to kind of give you guys some heads up on that, because I guess if I had to pick one thing that was the biggest shock for me between the US and the Philippines, it would be driving. And I learned to drive in Houston, Texas, which is a nutty place and a lot of nutty people, especially when it comes to the roads. And I've driven all over the world with having been in the Air Force for so long. I've traveled a lot, and so I can do it. It's no problem. But I will say this has probably been the most stressful place I've ever driven, and there's reasons for that. And I want to touch base on some of that when I do my update on my wild track. Also, Jen and Genesis, we've been going through a visa process for my wife and stepson for 2 years now, and that is starting to come to an end. And we've been through some things recently in the last couple of weeks that I do want to share with you guys in detail. Process it took to get to this end of the 2 years, and then the medical part of it, and then the interview part of it. All that's been done. Didn't end exactly like we hoped, but it should end very soon. I don't want to give a lot of detail on that, because I'm going to do a separate vlog on that. So I'll talk to you about all that. So maybe that'll help some of you guys that are married over here, or you have a spouse and you're in the U.S., you have a spouse over in the Philippines, and you're trying to get her green card and her Social Security card, then him or her, then this will be helpful because it's relevant and it's recent. So I'll kind of fill you in on some of that, on how all that works. There's other things that I'm not supposed to divulge just yet, so just be looking for some updated vlogs. Again, apologize for the length of time between our uploads, and our internet is lacking a lot too. It's very, very slow. But I've got a fix coming for that, and I'll do a vlog on that as well. But it's going to be a few weeks probably before I get that up and in place. So, all right, I know there's a lot of ambiguity there. Apologize for that, but you'll see. I promise. The garden. Oh gosh, I wanted to give you all an update on the garden. So the garden has been producing for months now. We've been getting peppers. This was all tomatoes. Tomatoes are coming to an end. What Mars does is, as they start to fade out, she'll start preparing that section for the next planting. That's all eggplant down there. This is peppers. This was all tomatoes. You still got some tomatoes, but they're, like I said, they're coming to the end. Those are more eggplants. String beans. We've gotten something called opo, which is like a Filipino vegetable I'm not familiar with. She's got carrots and onions planted out there. Watermelons, we've gotten watermelons. We've started getting, this is our little lettuce patch, and also some carrots up here. But I've been having, matter of fact, I'll have Jen throw a picture of my BLT sandwich I just made yesterday, or she made for me. Fresh lettuce. Moved some of our, we had 5 papaya trees here. We moved some of them down to the bottom of the property. We're bringing in good soil. I've been going to San Jose, which is not too terribly far from here. It's, as a crow flies, it's only about 30 kilometers, but drive-wise, it takes, there's no easy way to get there. But I found a source for some really good soil. It comes in 60 kilogram bags. We're paying about, I think, 83 pesos a bag. That's what it's going to come down to. I'm buying 100 bags, and we're just gradually adding it to this soil. This soil was rice, terrace rice fields for, God knows, hundreds of years maybe. The Mahomes on my property from 1917, that tells you anything. So this property layout that I bought is over 100 years old, and I'm sure way before that it was rice fields as well. So the soil's pretty depleted. And we're trying to, but you know what? Even with that, Mars's expertise with growing vegetables here has just been awesome. We could use some rain. This is definitely the dry season. I don't know if you can see or not, but that's our little pond that's been in a lot of our videos. But you can see there's no water in it. So we use our house water every day to water the garden. We hadn't had rain in I don't know how long. And it's been hot. Last 2 weeks, almost every day, 100 degrees. It feels like Texas. Although I will say the humidity's lower, considerably lower than Texas, or East Texas. So we're ready for some rain to give us a little relief. I am looking at potentially doing another well, just for agricultural, just to take care of this garden, and then maybe for if we decide to add a little home for any of our family, our relatives, we'd have another water source to be able to do that. So as it is with using my house water, that's filtered and not really necessary when you're watering a garden. So looking at doing something different there. If I do, I'll kind of show you all that process. It's interesting how they dig wells here. So that would be something some of you might be interested in. Listen, got to have dinner the other night with Dylan Fay, of one of our subscribers from California, Southern California. Pasadena, I believe, is where he said he was from. He just started messaging me, and he just happened to be here seeing his girlfriend who's in Manila. And we happened to be going to Manila for the visa interview for Jen and Genesis. So we all met up at the Mall of Asia, had dinner at the Olive Garden. They just opened up an Olive Garden there. So Dylan, super enjoyed meeting you and your girlfriend. Super great guy, Army vet. We've made so many friends through this channel, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for all of you watching, the stuff that we do. We do it, we started doing this just to chronicle some of our travels for us. And then it turned into more when we built the house and I started doing those. And it's kind of taken a whole nother direction. And I love to talk. So this comes pretty easy for me. Anyway, I appreciate all of you guys' friendship and your comments and just your support. I can't say that enough. And it's been so nice. Carl's coming soon. He's going to look at properties in this area. Gary up in the Gupon areas. I could go on and on. The folks that I've met, the folks that we hope to meet with. There's so many of you. We really enjoy getting to finally get to see you face to face. It's Roy, my buddy from Wisconsin. Can't wait to see him. He and I almost daily, sometimes two every other day, but we've had a conversation. You know what? And he and I have a lot of the same thought process, but we have a lot that are different. And it's okay. I just want to say to you guys, if you just because you differ with somebody politically or on some of their beliefs and things that they do, doesn't mean you can't have a conversation, and a cordial conversation, and agree to disagree. It's okay. It's what happened to that? We used to be able to do that with no problem. Now it's just like it's a war. If people don't think like you do, or if I respect all you guys' opinions. Doesn't mean I'm always going to agree with them, and I'm outspoken enough to tell you when I don't. But it's nothing personal, nothing intentional to hurt anybody. It's okay. Just guys, don't ever stop the conversation. Don't ever shut people down just because, like I said, their thoughts and things are not identical to yours. It's okay. Everybody has an opinion. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope all of you are doing well. Have a great day. The good. The bad. The Philippines.